Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Juliet here from English Per Class. And in today's video, we'll be looking at Summarize Spoken Test. Summarize Spoken Test is the first task in your PTE listening. I'll be talking about what this task requires, what is expected of you, the scoring for this task, and I'm going to share a template for anyone that needs a template. Let's just go straight into it. Like I said, this task is the first task in your PTE listing. Recall, the PTE listing has 8 tasks and this is the first one. You have 1 to 2 of this task on exam day and you're expected to write between 50 to 70 words. Now, this task will contribute scores to the PTE listening module and the PTE writing module. This task is very important because it's going to contribute some points to your writing. I mean, remember, writing doesn't have a lot of scores. So why I say this task is important, because it will also add scores to your writing to increase your writing score. One good thing I like about this task is that it's pretty straightforward here because an audio will be played, and once that audio plays, you're expected to take down notes while the audio is playing. The audio is about 1 to 2 minutes long, and you're supposed to take down vital notes, not just is or was or where. I mean, very important notes or keywords that were mentioned in the audio. Remember, you're provided with a notepad on exam day. Now let us look at the scoring for this task. If you see me looking down, then I'm actually looking down at my book where I wrote down the scoring, because I mean, I don't have everything up here in my head. You'll be scored 2 marks for content. What is the content here? The content here is simply what the audio is talking about. If the audio is talking about music, for instance, it could go into talking about different kinds of music, maybe like the hip hop, talking about blues or slow jams and all that. So that's the content. Now, those things you take down, those points you take down are those contents, those relevant content, maybe different genres and all that. They are the things you take down, not is music or was music. No, those important points, maybe they talk about different kinds of music, maybe like hip hops and all that. You write down those kind of content down. That is what gives you 2 marks. Another thing you're being scored for is form. Remember I said you're expected to write between 50 to 70 words in the box that will be provided, which I will show you here. Yeah, so you're supposed to write 50 to 70 words, and if you write less than 50 words, you're going to lose the 2 marks for content for form. If you write more than 70 words, that is word count, you're also going to lose that 2 mark for form. So you must stick to the instruction that you were given. The next criteria that you scored on will be grammar, and that is another 2 marks. So if your English or your language or whatever you're writing is not grammatically right, you will lose the 2 marks, or you can get 1 mark there. So your structure or your language has to be grammatically correct. That's, I've said 6 marks. Now I'll show you how you can get 6 marks from this task. The other one will be your spelling. PTE is big on spelling, and if you haven't seen my video on spelling, I'll be linking it up here. Yeah, spelling is very important. You can't be writing this exam and yet you're mixing up your I and your E and your C, okay? So spelling, if you get your spellings correctly, for every word you're going to use here, you get 2 marks for spelling. The last criterion which should be scored will be the vocabulary. What vocabulary did you note down? The vocabulary you're using, is it the right vocabulary that was used in the sentence, in the audio or in the lecture? Remember, it's a lecture that will be said or an audio. So the vocabulary you have to use, even if you want to substitute it, it should be a vocabulary that fits in the same context. It should not be taken out of context. So 10 marks here, 2 marks for content, 2 marks for form, 2 marks for grammar, 2 marks for spelling, and 2 marks for vocabulary. So you have 10 marks for each of these tasks that you do, because you're giving 1 or 2 on exam day of this task. I'm going to take some examples, but before I take some examples, I'm just going to share few tips. Then I'll talk about the templates I have, then before we look at few examples. Now, one tip that I will share here is just keep it simple, and remember the rule of writing a sentence still applies here. What is the rule of writing a sentence? In case you're just seeing this video of every other video I have, the rule of a sentence says that you have to start a sentence with a capital letter and you put a full stop at the end. Another tip I have here for you is this: make sure you do not just write a simple sentence. In as much as you're trying to summarize the lecture, make it a mixture of simple, complex, compound sentence. That way, it means that you know exactly what you're doing. And remember, wherever you see a proper noun, also remember to use up capital letters. Capitalize the first word of every proper noun that you see. And the last tip I'll be sharing here with you will be what? If you know it, just tell me in the comment section. Now, the last tip I'll be sharing here will be you're giving 10 minutes to finish up this task. So time management is the last tip. Make sure you do not take your eyes away from the time. If you take your eyes away from the time, you might be carried away and you will lose track of time and it will take you to the next task. I want you to know that for this task, you're giving 10 minutes to do each one. If you're giving one, 10 minutes. If you're giving two, 10 minutes. That means that you have 20 minutes. Now, if you're doing the first one and you finish up that one in 6 minutes, 7 minutes, you can't skip to the next task. You would have to wait till that 10 minutes is exhausted. Now, what will you be doing if you finish up in 6 minutes, in 7 minutes, and you have about 3 to 4 minutes left? What you should do is this: go through what you have written, checking for grammar errors, checking for spelling errors, check your form. Have you written between 50 to 70 words? That means you're not going to write less than 50. I'm not going to overshoot 70. You could write between 50 to 60 words just so that your content will be rich enough. Check all that you have. Have you dotted your I's? Have you crossed your T's? That is what you'll be doing in the remaining minutes left if you have saved minutes from this task. Let us look at the template I have. Now, remember, templates are not cast in stones, like I will always say. So that means that you can actually come up with something as long as your grammar is correct and your sentences are well structured. You will still get 10 marks for this task. Now, for those of us that might be a bit confused or might not know really what to do, you can use this template I want to share. These templates have been tested, it has been proven. I've used it in some of my mock tests and in my tests I have written. I share with some of my students too, and they use it and we all pass. So you can either use this template or you come up with your own template and try it out on exam day. So let us look at this template and see how useful it can be. Yeah, so you can see this template here is a very wonderful template. Yeah, I made up this template and I've used it for some of the tests I have written, and my clients have also used it, or my students or test takers have also used it. You know, I talked about complex sentences, not a simple sentences. You can see me using stuff like to begin with, in addition, significantly explained, furthermore, overall. So this is the way you're expected to write on exam day, even if you're not going to be using this template, but write something similar to this using connectives and making your sentences complex and not simple. Then you will get 10 marks if you do this task completely. Now let us listen to a sample audio and you will see a sample answer using this same template.
So imagine like a group of software engineers that all sit together in the same room and play ping pong after hours and know one another. Those type of groups can really tolerate the nonconformist weirdo, and that might actually be a very good thing for the organization, because that weirdo, so to speak, right, this person who's not behaving in the appropriate way, is probably also a reflection of the fact that that person is bringing new ideas and new sensitivities and has different ways of thinking of problems. And that might be really important for the organization's success, especially if this organization needs some innovation and new thoughts in order to be successful with its product offerings. So, you know, we find that there's this trade-off between your ability or tendency to behave in a compliant way, but also the security or lack thereof that you gain from the extent to which you're part of a tight-knit group or not. And really being in the right kind of sweet spot leads to the greatest success in organizations.
All right, so this is the interpretation or my own translation of the audio using the same template I shared earlier on. So you can see I started with a capital letter. I talked about the topic that was discussed, and I used a mixture of simple, complex, compound sentences, and I put a full stop. So this is how you're supposed to do this task on exam day. I hope it helps you. It's as simple as that. It's straight to the point, and it will contribute scores to both the PTE listening and the PTE writing. So that's it for this summarized spoken test. Is it a difficult task? I don't think so. Yeah, it's a straightforward task as long as you follow the tips I have shared here with you, or if you want to use my template, it's free for you. Just go ahead and use it. Please remember to like this video, remember to leave your comments, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on Instagram. You can see a lot of things I'm doing on my Instagram page at English_prep class, and follow me on Facebook. I have some reels there that you would also like at English Prep Class. These are my social media handles, and I would love you to turn on your bell notification if you're new here. I always have videos every week here on my YouTube channel. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.